News briefings use the same phrases everywhere: sanctions, air patrols, shipping warnings, attacks. A local fight becomes a supply crisis overnight. You feel it in prices and delays already.
These are the prompt, high-yield strikes intended to decapitate command.
Here's how World War III forces nations into alliances they never planned. When a war turns global, countries do not line up because they like each other. They line up because they need things: fuel, spare parts, ammunition, satellite access, secure banking rails, safe ports and airfields that can refuel and repair. That is the real math. A forced alliance can look formal, like a treaty and a joint command. More often, it looks messy and quiet. A country opens its airspace for humanitarian flights that are really logistics. A navy escorts tankers without announcing it. Two rivals agree not to jam each other's GPS while they both jam a third party. A state that hates your politics still sells you fertilizer because it wants cash and stability. In practice, forced alignment often starts with procurement and data, not flags. Governments pool orders so factories can run around the clock. They standardize spare parts and calibers so allies can swap supplies. Intelligence sharing expands from warning briefings to live target tracking. Even payment systems become tools, with emergency credit lines and fast contracts tied to security promises. The pressure spikes fast because stockpiles burn faster than people imagine. Missiles, drones, and air defense interceptors disappear from inventories in days. Shipping becomes risky, so delivery times stretch. Insurance costs explode. Markets tighten credit. Leaders do not have the luxury of slow debate. They have to pick partners who can keep their economy and military running. This is why language shifts. You hear coalition, deconfliction, combined patrols, and priority access. You see emergency summits that look like photo ops. But the real work is lists. What each country can provide, what it needs, and what it will trade. As an American, you usually notice the alliance movement before you see the battlefield. Export controls hit electronics, fuel prices jump, airlines reroute. Certain goods vanish or arrive late. The smartest move is not to chase every rumor online. Track official guidance, watch your budget, and keep boring basics in place at home. In Europe, the starting point is still NATO. The alliance exists to prevent one member from being picked off alone. In a large crisis, that logic tightens. Shared planning, shared radar pictures, and the need to avoid spillover make coordination the default. But stress shows up immediately. Some members want strong moves, others fear escalation. Some can spend big on defense, others cannot. Energy politics matter too. If fuel flows are threatened, governments argue about priorities, rationing, and who carries the cost. Red lines are not identical, and that difference is dangerous in fast-moving crises. Another stress point is speed. If something hits a NATO-linked site, leaders must decide quickly whether it was an accident, a proxy strike, or a deliberate test. That debate can happen while aircraft are already moving. At the same time, planners worry about undersea cables, pipelines, and rail corridors that keep Europe supplied. The unthinkable shifts happen in the gaps. NATO may lean on partners nearby for transit rights, basing, or industrial output. A country outside Europe becomes critical because it can make artillery shells, refine fuel, or repair aircraft parts. Another state becomes important because it can keep ports open or provide airlift capacity. These are not romantic alliances. They are practical ones. Escalation risk often lives near borders and hubs. A drone or missile lands close to a major logistics node. A cyber attack hits rail scheduling or port systems. A strike near a key base forces emergency dispersal. When that happens, politics and operations blend. A political signal becomes a military move in the eyes of an adversary. From a civilian view, you see travel changes, warnings about infrastructure security, and a steady rise in uncertainty. It is not constant sirens. It is the feeling that normal schedules break more often. In that kind of environment, your household wins by staying flexible. Keep plans simple, keep supplies modest, and do not build your life around fragile assumptions. In the Indo-Pacific, geography does most of the talking. Taiwan, the South China Sea, and the wider Western Pacific turn small choices into big consequences. Air defense, convoy protection, surveillance sharing, and refueling rights matter more than speeches. This is where unthinkable partnerships can appear, not because people forgive old disputes, but because losing sea lanes is worse. Countries that compete in peacetime still pass each other's radar tracks in wartime. A government that refuses to pick a side might still allow repairs, medical stops, or overflight corridors because its economy depends on trade staying alive. You also see quiet deals around sensors and sea control. One country provides radar coverage, another hosts refueling aircraft, a third offers ship repair and medical evacuation. None of it sounds dramatic, but it changes the balance. When trade routes are threatened, even states that avoid headlines may support convoy schedules or mine clearing to keep ports usable. Bases, ports, and repair capacity become currency. A runway that can host tankers, a port that can handle reloads, and a shipyard that can patch damage quickly. These elements pull nations into bargains. You might see new access deals signed in days, not months, because the alternative is isolation. Economics forces coalition behavior too. Chips, batteries, and shipping insurance can reshape the map. If key insurers will not cover a route, trade stops unless governments backstop it. If advanced parts cannot cross borders, production freezes, and leaders hunt for suppliers wherever they can find them. For you at home, the Indo-Pacific often shows up as delays and price spikes. Electronics become harder to replace. Car parts take longer. Cyber disruptions can feel like random outages, but the pattern is not random. Logistics systems are targets. Under that pressure, the practical move is to assume convenience will dip. Keep a small buffer. Keep devices charged. Keep important numbers and documents offline, and do not let constant scrolling turn your living room into a panic room. If a global war heats up, energy becomes the hinge. Oil and gas move through choke points, and those choke points become political weapons. When markets fear disruption, everyone suddenly cares about keeping tankers moving and ports functioning. If fighting spreads near key straits, even a brief pause in traffic can ripple into shortages. That is why you may see naval escorts, inspection regimes, and hotline calls between rivals who normally do not talk. The goal is not peace. It is preventing a shock that breaks their own economies. This is where temporary truces can form. Not trust, not friendship. Truces. Quiet coordination to avoid hitting certain facilities. Back-channel messages that say, do not expand the fight into shipping. Limited ceasefires exist for two reasons: internal stability and cash flow. Even rivals may agree on minimum rules because they cannot afford a total shutdown. These deals can look strange from the outside. A country condemns another on camera, then cooperates on maritime safety behind the scenes. A rival militia pauses attacks because a patron needs oil revenue. A government allows inspections or escorts because insurance costs are crushing its budget. What Americans notice here is blunt. Gas price shock, airline reroutes, shipping surcharges that show up as higher prices on basic goods. You also see political fights over energy policy, drilling, strategic reserves, and whether allies are doing enough. If you want calm WWIII analysis that skips fear and focuses on what matters, subscribe to the WWIII files. The survival layer is practical. When energy becomes unstable, your life gets expensive and unpredictable. The goal is not to outsmart global markets. It is to reduce your exposure. Keep your car maintained. Avoid last-minute refills that leave you stuck in lines. Build a small cushion so a price spike does not force bad choices. Use news like a tool, not a drug. In a world war, neutral does not mean untouched. It often means hunting for influence. Swing states become kingmakers because they control routes, markets, food, or production. Everyone courts them, pressures them, and tries to lock them in. Some swing states matter because they sit on choke points or air corridors. Others matter because they can scale production of drones, medicines, or refined fuel. In a crisis, both camps may tolerate behavior they use to condemn, just to keep access. That is how neutral space shrinks. The pressure comes in layers: sanctions, threats, and promises of exemptions, security guarantees and arms packages, access to technology, debt relief, investment deals, discounts on fuel, grain shipments. Leaders are offered carrots and shown sticks, sometimes in the same meeting. Choices can flip because the first job of most governments is internal stability. If a country faces inflation, unrest, or shortages, it will prioritize keeping the lights on and food flowing. Ideology matters less when the public is angry and the currency is sliding. Regime survival, economic continuity, and border security become the main drivers. Unthinkable outcomes are common in this zone. A state may align partly with both camps, trading with one while sharing intelligence with another. A government may switch support as front lines change or as a better deal appears. Some will try to stay in the middle and end up squeezed until they choose. Civilians often see policy shifts before they understand the reason. Export bans arrive suddenly. New rationing rules are rumored, then confirmed. Markets react to hints. Travel advisories change overnight. You feel it in prices long before you hear a clear explanation. At home, keep your focus narrow. Your job is not to predict every diplomatic swing. Your job is to build resilience against the effects, price jumps, delayed goods, and waves of misinformation. Stay calm, stay informed from solid sources, and keep your plans simple enough to follow when everyone else is arguing. Modern war eats resources, not just fuel and bullets, but minerals, fertilizer, grain, batteries, and spare parts. These flows decide endurance. If you cannot move inputs, you cannot keep factories running. And if you cannot keep factories running, you cannot sustain the fight. That reality creates blocks built around supply chains. Some countries lock up critical minerals through contracts and security guarantees. Others form food corridors and convoy systems to keep grain moving. Shipping lanes and choke points become bargaining chips. If a strait becomes unsafe, trade reroutes, costs rise, and states are forced to cooperate or suffer. Unthinkable cooperation can happen here too. Rivals share maritime patrol schedules to prevent piracy and accidents. They agree on inspection rules to reduce chaos. They coordinate on port safety because a single mistake can shut a major hub for weeks. For Americans, this shows up as grocery costs rising, spot shortages, and normal items turning into scarce items fast. You might see certain medicines delayed. You might see rationing talk in the local news. The point is not to hoard. Hoarding creates the very shortages you fear. The better approach is flexibility. Build a boring buffer of shelf-stable food and basic household needs. Rotate what you buy. Avoid waste. If something becomes hard to find, adapt rather than panic. Your strength is not a huge stockpile. It is the ability to function when convenience drops. Alliances sound abstract until they hit your street. A new coalition can change fuel prices, parts availability, cyber risk, and local security posture. It can also change how fast the government asks industry to shift production and how hard it leans on ports, rail, and power systems. The first week of a major escalation often feels like noise. Alerts, overloaded networks, conflicting headlines. Family members are sending you clips and rumors. Neighbors are debating what is real. Some people freeze, others make impulsive buys. Sleep gets lighter, patience gets thinner. If you have kids, keep routines steady. If you support older relatives, check refills early. Local alerts often matter more than national debate today. This is where you can stay useful. Conserve cash. Keep water and shelf-stable food. Keep devices charged and power banks topped off. Track official updates at set times instead of constantly refreshing. Make a simple family plan. Who checks on whom, where you meet if phones fail, and what you do if schools close or work shifts. Avoid the common mistake of chasing perfect safety. Driving somewhere safer without guidance can put you in traffic jams, fuel lines, or areas you do not know. Buying based on rumors drains money and leaves you with the wrong supplies. Calm preparation beats frantic motion. Your edge is routine, discipline, and information hygiene. You control what you consume, what you store, and how you talk to your family. That is not small. In a stressed society, steady households are the difference between disruption and collapse. Alliances in World War III will not be permanent. They will be deals made under pressure. This is an analysis, not a prediction. Your best defense is calm thinking, basic readiness, and resisting panic.